Great Sunday morning, Arizona. You're watching 12 News Today in AZ. I'm Allison Rodriguez. After 76 days, the partial government shutdown is officially over. Lawmakers on Capitol Hill approving a bill to fund the Department of Homeland Security. But there is still one major sticking point that needs to be settled. Plus, a story that challenges assumptions at a Phoenix school. How kids who are visually impaired are building independence and showing they can achieve just as much as anyone else. And we are talking about some of the best destinations in Arizona, our small towns. Arizona Highways sharing what makes these places so special and why you should check them out for yourself this summer. But first, here is a look at your weather impact forecast for this Sunday.
Good Sunday morning to you. I'm 12 News meteorologist Chris Dunn with a look at your forecast. And the next big thing, we're tracking much cooler weather moving in by Tuesday. So we have to wait a few days for that to happen. But it'll be worth the wait. We're up to 97 today, extra clouds on Monday, 84, and only 80 degrees on Tuesday. This may be the coolest stretch of weather in the next 6 months, because after this, we really start to ramp things up. 85 at 10 a.m., warming up into the 90s, 1 p.m. at 93 degrees. Plenty of clouds out there, and also a breeze out of the south and southwest at about 10 to 15, occasionally up to 20 miles per hour. So there will be breezy conditions around the valley. 94 Deer Valley today, 94 in Mesa, and 95 in Maricopa. The wind situation, as mentioned, out of the south, the southwest, close to 30 miles per hour in the mountains, 25-mile-per-hour gusts in the valley around 5 to 6 p.m. Your temperatures for this Sunday across Arizona: 78 in Sedona, 97 Phoenix, 67 in Flagstaff. We'll talk about the cool down and the warm up of the roller coaster ride coming up with your full forecast.
The House approving a Senate-passed bill to fund a majority of the department, but the legislation is still leaving out two key agencies. 12 News journalist Tori King live for us this morning at Sky Harbor Airport with what this does mean for federal workers. Tori.
Yes, good morning. It is a very busy Friday morning here at Sky Harbor, and we are in Terminal 4 at one of the security checkpoints. Take a look at this line right behind me. You can see hardly any line at all. It's been kind of touch and go all morning. It did kind of ramp up a little more last hour, but these TSA officers are getting these people through security very quickly. They might have a new pep in their step because of that bill that was passed last night, the shutdown, lasting for a record 76 days, causing thousands of those federal employees to work without pay for over a month. Yesterday, the bipartisan measure was approved by members of Congress by voice rather than recording individual votes. After that, President Donald Trump officially signed the measure into law. Now, that law funds almost all of the department through September. That's the end of fiscal year 26, including the TSA, FEMA, and the Coast Guard, but it did not provide future funding for Border Patrol, as well as Immigration and Customs Enforcement. That's a move that Democrats say was intentional. Both of those agencies received funding during the shutdown through a separate Republican-led bill, but that money is set to run out in the coming months. Now, President Donald Trump is pressuring Republican lawmakers to come up with a solution that's going to fund those departments for the next 3 years without Democratic votes. House Speaker Mike Johnson had this to say after the measure was passed.
We held the Homeland bill, the underlying funding bill, because we had to ensure that they could not isolate and eliminate those true critical agencies. We are getting those done now. We passed the resolution first. That was critically important for us to do to ensure that we're going to protect the homeland. We were not going to have lines at TSA. Everybody will get their paychecks now. We'll get moving forward. And then we will finish the work and finally get, again, for 3 years with no crazy Democrat reforms, we will fund Border Patrol and Immigration Enforcement.
Now, President Donald Trump has asked Republicans to have a bill funding both ICE and Border Patrol on his desk by June 1st. The shutdown first began on February 14th, affecting airports around the U.S., including Sky Harbor right here in Phoenix. The TSA hit especially hard, with more than 1,000 officers resigning after widespread callouts caused long lines and security delays. Despite the shutdown, though, Sky Harbor says it actually saw a record 5.1 million travelers last month thanks to locally hosted events around the city. You might remember we had the Women's Final Four, we also had the playoffs, and of course last month was spring break for several states around the U.S. So a very, very busy month and very busy travel season for Phoenix and Sky Harbor. But very thankful for all of these workers for sticking it throughout this difficult time. Very happy that they are now fully funded. So reporting in Phoenix, I'm Tori King, 12 News, Today in AZ.
Well, let's stick with your roads right now as we get to a traffic impact alert for our Valley drivers. Starting tonight, there are going to be some lane restrictions along the Loop 101 in North Scottsdale. ADOT saying they are working to make that commute smoother between Shea Boulevard and the Princess Drive Pima Road exit, which is a pretty popular exit there. And so you want things to be smooth, right? Our David Chazanoff joining us live near the Loop 101 where this is going to be happening. Okay, so David, if this is part of my normal route, of course, the first thing I'm going to be wondering is, well, how long is this going to last? And you're saying not as long as you think.
Yeah, that's exactly right, Allison. Good morning. ADOT says their work should be done in this area by late summer, so we're really only talking about a couple of months here. I want to pivot now to a video just outlining what this is all going to look like. So we've had new lanes in this area for a couple of months, but ADOT crews are now going to smoothen out the concrete to give drivers a much better ride. What the agency is about to start working on tonight is the final step of a Loop 101 widening project between Shea Boulevard and the Princess Drive Pima Road exit. We know crews are going to shave off a tiny layer of concrete, get rid of road bumps, and add tiny grooves to limit tire noise. So you won't be dealing with any total closures, so a big relief there. But ADOT says they're sticking to lane restrictions at night and over the weekends at times to keep traffic moving along. Now, something to keep in mind for tonight and tomorrow, starting at 10 p.m., the southbound Loop 101 will drop down to 2 lanes between the Princess Drive Pima Road exit and Thunderbird Road. And here's what you need to know from this upcoming Friday night all the way until the next Monday morning rush. The southbound Loop 101 will only have 2 lanes between the Princess Drive Pima Road exit and Shea Boulevard. And you'll want to keep an eye on how fast you're going in those specific areas when crews are working. We're told law enforcement will be around keeping an eye on that, and the speed limit will drop to 55 miles per hour through those work zones to keep crews safe. So a lot of ground to cover there, obviously, but keep in mind this project should last about 3 months or so. So when and where these lane restrictions will be happening should change on a weekly basis. We're in Scottsdale. David Chazanoff, 12 News, Today in AZ.
So for children who are visually impaired, the biggest challenge often isn't what they can or can't see. It's the blind spots the rest of us have when it comes to what they can do.
As Nohalani Graf shows us, a Phoenix school is working to change all of that, preparing students to thrive alongside their peers. No, hey, this is something we can all get behind.
Listen, this place was magical visiting it. It really changes how you view abilities. At the Foundation for Blind Children, students are building the skills that they'll need to navigate the world while teachers and families work to raise expectations right along with them.
It looks like any other preschool classroom. Bright colors, art on the walls, little backpacks hanging in a row. But a few nuances come into focus. Walking sticks by the door, braille on placards, textures guiding tiny hands from one place to the next. Let's go, Jameson. This is the Foundation for Blind Children, where the goal isn't just learning, it's independence.
Really appreciate how much magic is happening every single day.
Because here, the biggest barrier isn't blindness, it's raising the bar on expectation by everyone else.
That is our biggest Achilles heel. Rafting the Grand Canyon is not cool for someone who's visually impaired. It's just cool.
And that starts early.
She's kind of been with FBC since she was a baby. We were able to bring her in for pre-K.
When Maeve first arrived,
well, she wasn't walking. at all.
Doctors told her parents she might never.
I was told when she was 4 months old that I would not anticipate her walking, and we have proved them wrong.
Her first steps happened here.
We cried. Yeah.
Yeah, huge milestone for us.
Now she's in pre-K. For Maeve's parents, the progress isn't just physical.
New hand and foot. We want her to build her independence.
That independence is exactly what this school is designed to teach. From learning Braille, to navigating classrooms, to preparing for a future alongside sighted peers.
Start kindergarten ready to fly versus having to kind of catch up.
Which one of those do you like?
And that's the real vision for Maeve and her classmates, to not be defined by what they can't do.
The dreams, they don't change just because of the diagnosis. Now the path might change and how we get there might change, but the dreams do not.
And to prove what they can, so the rest of the world really starts to see them.
Anything anybody else can do, they can do too.
So they work with 65 different school districts and private schools to provide services once the students leave FBC. So that might mean helping set up a classroom so that a blind student can navigate, teaching how to use more descriptive language in teaching, making Braille name cards for everyone in the classroom so that one student isn't singled out. And guys, I just want to really emphasize what these students can accomplish. Jared mentioned rafting the Grand Canyon. Their students also camped for a week while they did that. One student swam Alcatraz. What? Another blind student flew a plane to Washington, D.C. So being ready to move into a public school setting, eventually being career ready, totally attainable.
They can do it. You know, it just kind of takes everyone to know that they can and support them. Incredible. No, hey, thank you so much.
Time once again for another look at your 12 News weather impact forecast. And a quick reminder, have you had a chance to check out our live radar 24/7 feed here on 12 Plus? Yeah, it is live radar, but it's also live weather conditions and forecast weather conditions from all across Arizona. And you can check it out anytime here on 12 Plus. You can also stream it on your phone. Just point the phone to that QR code and download it to your phone. Here's Futurecast for later today. This is Sunday, 1 p.m. There may be a couple of isolated spot showers across the Navajo Nation, the Hopi Reservation, and areas points north of Flagstaff. But most of us will see scattered high clouds throughout the course of the day. And then as we get into Monday, watch what happens to that cloud cover. Lots of clouds. This is just before 5 p.m. on Monday afternoon. And then right down in here, this is going to be the chunk of the state that has the best chance of seeing some rain over the next couple of days. Southeastern Arizona, say Safford to Sierra Vista, Wilcox, Benson, and down towards Nogales. This is on Tuesday, early in the morning on Tuesday. And then as we go through Tuesday, there's actually a spinning area of low pressure, cold air loft that will move across the state. Mountain showers and a few thunderstorms, and much cooler weather settling into the Phoenix area. How much rain are we looking at? Well, not really much at all, if any, for Maricopa County, which is that county right there. But for the next 3 days, it's all to the north, to the east, and to the south. Basically where it has been with the last few weak weather systems that have moved through. The wind will be up a little bit this afternoon, say 5 or 6 o'clock, with some gustiness around Phoenix, gusting to around 20 miles per hour, 25. 97 in Phoenix today, 97 for Gila Bend, 96 at Havasu, and 67 in Flagstaff with scattered clouds all across the state. Show low hits 72 degrees. Forecast highs across the valley, 97 in Goodyear, Buckeye, and 95. Apache Junction, 93. Look at all of these 90s. That's about to change as we have a big cool down coming up. But then once that cool down moves out, warmer weather moves in. This is the longer range temperature outlook, May 10th through the 16th. So this takes us basically through the middle part of May. And all of these shades of red here, that's the probability of above average temperatures. And we're in that 50 to 60% range. So that tells us the weather setup will give us a nice warming trend. If you like the warmer weather. Here's the Flagstaff 7-day forecast. Showers and thunderstorms best bet on Tuesday, a 50% chance, only 51 on Tuesday, 62 on Wednesday. And then NAU has graduation on Friday. 76 degrees, mostly sunny. Looks like it's going to be great for that event. Here's your Valley 7-day forecast. Mostly cloudy Monday, and look at Tuesday's high, 80. But it quickly warms right back up. We have 100s for the first time in a while. Actually, the first time since March. 101 on Friday, 103 on Saturday.
Well, from Route 66 stops to historic main streets, right now Arizona highways spotlighting the charm of our small towns in Arizona. This is the May issue here, and this morning we've got the editor-in-chief, Robert Steve, joining us with a look inside. So thank you for being here. Always so happy when you're visiting us because it helps us make those weekend plans or our plans. Why did you guys want to focus on our small towns?
Well, you know, so many people think about Arizona and they think about the big, broad landscapes, go to the Grand Canyon and Monument Valley and Saguaro National Park, places like that. But, you know, you're from the Midwest, right? You know, like there's a million little towns everywhere. Yeah. We have so much open space and public lands. We don't really have a million small towns. We have some pretty cool spots. So, you know, it's an opportunity to do something different, I guess, hit these small towns.
Yeah, absolutely, because they all have their own charm as well. We were just talking about some of our favorites that we've had a chance to visit. What surprised you most when you were kind of researching all of these small towns? Was there something stick out to you that you were like, I didn't know about that one, but I'm going to go back?
Well, there's you know, we talk about where to eat, which is a big deal. You know, when you travel and you go somewhere and you tend to like skew to the things you're familiar with, the chains, because there might be a little dive over here, which you might go, ooh, I'm not so sure. That might be the best food in town. So, you know, each place has its unique thing, but I think what the common denominator for a lot of these towns is that the hometown pride that people have. You know, we talk to so many different people, and, you know, a lot of these people grew up in these small towns, were left and then came back because they love them. So I think it's a place people take pride in, and I think that makes it worth visiting.
Well, let's talk about some of these towns that we are speaking of and that are going to be featured. We're talking about Jerome, which has such a fun culture and history in and of itself. I had a chance to go there a couple summers ago when it was scorching hot here. I said, I'm out. It was still warm there, but what an interesting kind of, I feel like it's really good to go around Halloween.
It is. Well, you know, and you know, a lot of people tend to go on the weekends and it gets very busy up there.
Yeah.
But if you've got a schedule that allows you to go on a Wednesday, it's a little more, you know, it's a little quieter, but the same charm.
Yeah, well, tell me about the charm. It's like a little bit of a ghost kind of spooky vibes that they really love to lean into.
Yeah, they do. I mean, it's an old mining town, and we have a lot of those in Arizona. A lot of our small towns actually are former mining towns, but they've done a great job of just, you know, having artisans and shops and some good restaurants too, and some places to stay that allegedly have a few ghosts floating around.
Yeah, exactly. See, hence the Halloween. Also had a great burger when I was there.
Yes.
So you're right. The food tying into it is all just part of it. Tombstone is another great place that obviously Hollywood has made like this huge legend, but it's in our own backyard. And it is this small town that's got this huge charm.
Yeah, and it's also in a part of the state a lot of people don't go to. It's in the southeastern part of the state. Again, a lot of your viewers and our readers like to go north to Sedona and Flagstaff. Tombstone is, a lot of history there. And sure, there's, you know, the touristy twist to it. And, you know, there's some of that too. But, you know, it's kind of eye-opening to kids, especially when they go and see a place like that. Or, you know, to see places that you've seen in so many movies.
Absolutely. Plus, they have a cool little reenactment if you get a chance to go and see that.
Yeah.
I was participating as part of the audience, and it's just so fun to give into it and learn about it and embrace it. And so we love that. You know, some people may have heard of Jerome and Tombstone as well. Are there any other of these small towns that you feel like maybe don't get as much publicity or shine? Yeah,
you know, we talk about a place called Crown King in this issue. So if you're leaving the valley and going up north on the 17 and you come to a sign that says Bloody Basin Road, if you look to the left up there in those mountains, there's a little town. Again, it's a former mining town, but there's actually a little general store up there, and there's a saloon up there, and there are actually people that live up there. I think the kids have to go to school in Prescott because it's not big enough to accommodate, you know, a school, but, you know, it's a great place, and it's super close to the valley, and also it's up higher in elevation, so you can escape the heat a little bit up there.
I want to talk about your front cover here. You guys always have the best covers. I actually have your other one with the ballet folklorico dancers that I put up there on my desk because it's just so cool. This one is amazing as well. How did you guys zero in on this one?
Well, you know, we were trying to think of something that epitomizes a small town, and we thought, you know, a local movie theater with one screen that's been, has survived all these years, and that's in Wickenburg.
Yeah, okay, so that's what you're seeing right here. This one is in Wickenburg.
Yeah, again, not too far. Wickenburg's a great place to visit. I mean, it's less than an hour away. There's some great restaurants, a lot of Western history there. Real people. I mean, talk about people that take pride in where they live. That's Wickenburg.
That's so true. Well, we are so proud of everything you guys do at Arizona Highways Magazine. Where can we go and pick this up?
Newsstands, grocery stores, bookstores, or you can subscribe.
There you go. We've got all of that information. Thank you so much, Robert, for being here. We always love to have you and make those weekend plans. And so, I don't know, you said Crown King?
I'd go to Crown King, yeah.
I'd have to put it on our list.
That's
All right, thank you so much.
One Arizona man is helping pay for 3 families' cancer bills. Bridger Deaton, he is raising money, and the way he's doing it is by running across the entire state. I mean, what about, like, we could have done like a bake sale or something? No. We got to run all the way across Arizona. We've got Troy Lynch live in studio with why he decided to do this. Troy, are we going to get to how you're helping out too? Are you talking about that later?
I'm not helping out on this one.
Not this one, okay.
Yeah. Me doing the story is me doing my part, luckily. There's another race next week that I'm helping out with. But yes, we got to talk about this. So this route is around 350 miles long, and he expects it to take about 8 days to complete. And the reason Bridger wanted to do this stemmed from his own skin cancer diagnosis just a year ago. Now, Bridger is 25 years old and he lives in Tempe, and he started running just 3 years ago with a half marathon. And then he says originally he thought 3 miles was a lot. But after that first half marathon, he signed up for a half Ironman, then continued to increase the difficulty, and now he's making quite the jump because the longest run he's done up to this point is 30 miles. But it was his own personal journey with cancer and seeing how it impacts families close to him that made him want to do this. So here's how he plans to do it. He's looking about doing 50 miles a day, and this is the route starting from Lupton, Arizona and going west, basically along Interstate 40 until he gets to Bullhead City. Now, we had the chance to talk about the run and how he believes we need to do hard things like this because sometimes what's limiting us in is our mind, and we have to push beyond that point.
Cancer is not something that people choose. You can be a very healthy individual, as I was, and it can still come into your life. And I've seen it take people from my life and take people from countless other families that I've talked to. So I want to do something that was extremely hard. No one's really done it before, and bring a community together around that and be able to raise a lot of money for people that are fighting that battle.
Really is incredible. All the funds Bridger raises will go to 3 families, and the goal is to raise $15,000 and give a third to each family. But if they raise more, then he will be able to give them more money. Now, if you want to nominate a family who's having a hard time paying for their cancer treatment bills, you can fill out an online form at the Give Butter donation page that you see right here, and the families will be chosen after Bridger completes the run, and you could still donate. There is time. We got the link on our website, 12news.com, and Bridger, he's going to start the run Saturday, May 2nd, tomorrow, and he hopes it takes about a week. And his words of advice is go see a dermatologist, get yourself checked out no matter how healthy you believe you are, because it can come out of nowhere. But we're live here in the studio. Troy Lynch, 12 News, Today in AZ.
Well, especially living here in Arizona where it's so sunny and we're out all of the time. I mean, absolutely good advice. Troy, thank you.
With the final check of your weather impact forecast, I'm meteorologist Chris Dunn. Today's weather timeline shows us rapidly heating up to 90 degrees by noontime. And look at all of the clouds we have in the forecast. It will be breezy at times, mainly during the afternoon and evening hours, topping out in the mid-90s today. Across the valley, Tempe at 96, Gilbert 95, and Surprise at 94 degrees. Here's your Valley 7-day forecast. Big cool down coming up. Only 80 degrees on Tuesday, but as quickly as we cool down, we're going to warm right back up. 96 by Thursday and 100 plus heading into next weekend.
Thank you so much for joining us this Sunday morning. And remember to start your weekend every morning with Today in AZ, starting at 4:26 a.m. and now streaming until 9 a.m. on 12 Plus. Your mornings don't stop.
And now neither do we. Welcome to Today in AZ. 12 News Today in AZ keeps going.
Expanding to 9 a.m. on the 12 Plus streaming app.
More live weather.
More live traffic updates.
More breaking news. Live from 4:26 a.m. to 9.
12 News Today in AZ, now streaming until 9 a.m. on 12 Plus.
Download on your TV and watch for free.